Leisure time. Did you ever stop to think how much leisure time you really have? Some of us put our leisure time to good use. And some of us, Ken Michaels, for example, spend most of our leisure time just moping.
Moping? He thinks I'm moping. Well, who wouldn't mope? There's nothing to do. Nobody's around. You know how it is. I went down to the bowling alley. Went over to the drugstore. None of the gang was there. All my friends are busy, so what's for me to do?
Do you suppose Ken has more leisure time than his friends do?
Huh? Well, no, I don't have more time. We all spend about the same amount of time in school, and the rest is leisure time. I've got nothing to do but wait for supper. My friends have more things to do. They're lucky.
Ken's pretty lucky, too.
Listen to that. All right, I'll bite. Why am I lucky?
Because you have so much leisure time. Time in which you can do things you enjoy. Time in which you don't have to work.
Like this, huh? Is that good?
Let me show you a few things. Suppose you had lived 100 years ago. What would you have been like? Take a look.
Where? Oh, is that me? Is that what I would have looked like 100 years ago?
Well, perhaps. But now, well, let's look back 100 years again and see someone else.
Who? Hey, that's my dad.
Young man, you get off that bed and get to work. After you clean out the stable, you can build some new steps for the back porch. While I work 72 hours a week, no son of mine is going to loaf.
72 hours?
12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Tomorrow morning, young man, you're going out to get a regular job. You can work too, and earn your keep.
Not so good, Ken? Well, let's try another picture. Say about 50 years ago.
Oh, hello, son. Well, say, I've got some new pictures for the stereoscope. We'll look at them tonight. Don't forget about your chores. Have them all done by the time I'm through work. And keep the wood box full.
Boy, how long will you work, Dad?
Why, 10 hours. 10 hours a day, every day except Sunday.
60 hours a week? Boy.
Well, Ken, let's take a look at your father's time as it really is today.
Hi, Dad. You sure don't work as long hours as they used to.
That's right, Ken. It's a wonderful thing to be able to do so much work in so little time. This 40-hour week suits me fine. And some people even work shorter hours nowadays. But by the way, Ken, how'd you like to play a quick round of golf before supper? I think we can work it in. And then later I'd like to shellac that new bookcase I'm making.
Well, Ken?
Yes, Dad does enjoy his leisure time. And to think that a few years ago, people didn't have nearly so much time to themselves.
Yes, we've gained a lot of leisure time in the last century or so. All of us.
Wait a minute. All of us? Mother should hear you say that. She's always complaining that she doesn't have enough time.
Well, let's see about that. Can you picture your mother as she might have been 50 years ago?
I guess so.
My, that's hard work. It takes so much time, too. But that's woman's lot in life. Scrub clothes, carry water, bake bread, feed the chickens, till time to go to bed and then get up again to start all over again.
You see, Ken? Now, how about today?
My, this new washer certainly is a time saver. And I do need some extra time. Now, let's see, I want to do some shopping, but this first.
Wait a minute. This may be easier work, but it still looks like work.
Oh, well, I have to plan the program for the Women's Club next month. That's one of my favorite activities, you know. It does keep me busy, but, well, that's not work.
What do you think, Ken?
I think
Well,
that's definitely work. In fact,
Mother does have more
too much
leisure time
work.
now. But still, she's always busy. How does she find so many things to do?
Also undervalued in society.
How
That's
can
the
I
other thing.
find
You know,
something to do with
caretaking
my
isn't
extra
like
time?
caretaking doesn't count towards the
Well, for that
GDP,
matter,
so
what
therefore it's
about
not a
you?
real job, which is just, you know,
I
obscene.
don't know. It seems as if leisure time is a problem.
Well, let's see how your friends have met that problem.
I told him once my friends were all busy. Oh. Busy. They have something to do with their time.
Have my water with me? Yes, I do. Hello. People watch my VODs. I can't I can't just sit in silence and ponder my next move. People watch these and they're gonna check. They're gonna be like, oh, okay, there's like a technical difficulty when we fast forward. I forget people do that. Maybe they put it on the background, they just don't like worry about it. I don't know. I don't know how much my yapping has to like, is there a point where it's too much? Like if you're watching a VOD and then like, is there a point where someone, because it's definitely not live. If it's live, like, you would probably tell me. Someone watching a VOD and just like putting it at the side. And they think, Karis Ufanor. Like, is there ever a point where they think, Karis Ufanor talks too much? He should just shut up for a little bit and then continue talking. You know, not forever, just like a little bit. Excuse me, I almost burped. Like, is it, I wonder if that's ever, there's ever a point, because if there is, I wouldn't know. It would just be reflected in the fact that no one's, or rather, like, it's less. But then it will only, but then it would only reflect afterwards, not for that specific VOD itself. Or maybe it's just entirely game dependent. It's entirely like, oh, finally he's playing Vampire Therapist again. I'm gonna watch that. Or I would imagine, for most people, it's like, let me Control F, class of, and then like click on those, right? Like I would imagine that's what it is mostly. Maybe just looking for specific games. I don't think anyone's looking for me. If they are, they're probably not. They're either in the chat or they lurk. And I have to respect people who lurk because I do the exact same thing. But now that I'm in the position of a VTuber, I understand how confusing it is, how things are a lot easier if people are vocal, but they're not, because, you know, it's just life, right? Shit, I have to set up chat. I forgot to do that. Not that it matters. It's one of those. This is one of the lower, one of the chiller streams. I don't think anyone's much, but I did want to finish it because it's been 2 months since I last launched the game. 2 months without therapy. Philosopher VTuber definitely needs to visit the shrink. I have not gone to the therapist Andromachos in a while. I haven't been streaming in a while too, but you know, I haven't gone to the therapies, the other thing. One second, I'm setting up my chat. Hold on. Hold on. What? Never mind. What? So yeah, okay. Why bring it back? You know, it's been 2 months. You haven't streamed it. Anyone who wanted to watch it has probably fucked off. Why bring it back, Karis, Ufernor? Well, I just feel a little uneasy by the fact that I haven't been following up on the game series I start on, not for viewership's sake, because if I start streaming something and no one cares, if I stream it more, there's only going to be less people who care, I would imagine, unless there's a specific uptick in the games, in the interest of the game itself. Generally, that's how it goes. And so the problem, or rather the thing I think about when I'm thinking of, okay, should I set up this damn chat? No! Wait. Fuck. Okay. Hold on. Okay, we got it. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. Anyways, sorry. I haven't streamed Vampire Therapist in 3 months or 2 months. Why continue again? Was it because there was an update? Well, there have been updates to the game over the past 2 months. Free updates, very nice. Good on the devs for that. The dev who's also the main dev who's also a voice for like a lot of the characters, such as Andromahos himself. But I felt uneasy just starting a series, starting a game, and then sort of just not picking up on it. And don't worry, I am right now thinking about Fire Emblem Three Houses. I'm thinking of Tears of the Kingdom. I'm thinking of shit, what else am I thinking of? Hold on. Let me go back. Give me a moment. Give me just a little bit of a moment. I am thinking of... Actually, no, that's it. I haven't streamed that many games. But the ones I have streamed that I haven't finished are Three Houses, Tears of the Kingdom, and this Vampire Therapist. I must apologize for not finishing them before starting like new projects. I've slowly realized that as time has went on, I have let certain ideas carry me away from like I'm way too obsessed with, oh my god, there's this new idea I can do, let me do that and chase it, instead of continuing upon an old idea I had, which is weird because a lot of times streamers just, it's easier to do the repetitive content, but maybe that's because they have contractual hours. I'm thinking of the top 0.01% of streamers who have contractual hours they have to fill and just not enough room to be creative. Maybe I'm thinking of that, right? In which they prefer sort of just sticking to the same or familiar things. I don't like the familiar things. I want to jump around. I want to do different shit. But unfortunately, I mean, not unfortunately, or as a side effect of this drive, I have an inability to finish upon and polish and execute old ideas or ideas I've had for a while, because they're not new ideas. And new ideas are exciting. Old ideas are kind of boring. And I tend to abandon projects. Well, I don't do that, but I tend to feel the urge to abandon projects as they go on. Unless I finish them very quickly or I do more things within those projects, then I lose a lot of momentum as it goes on. I'm much more of a initial burst kind of person. All this to say, I could just walk away from Vampire Therapist as I might the other games I've started but not completed, but and maybe that might be for the better for my viewership, for people, because people come here to watch interesting games, not so much me yet. I've not established yet a brand of personality that people will willingly come to, other than like the 5 regulars that show up in my chat room times. And you, invisible person who's watching, who never comments on anything, you too, right? So because of that, like there is a good incentive for me to just jump on every branch until I get to the right one. Maybe I could even take one of the examples as like the Class of 09 stream as one of the right branches to take. But I'm deciding against that because I think what's more important for me is finishing what I started, because that is my weakness. That is it's just not like it's something I'm not good at, which is precisely why I should be better. I should sharpen myself. I should be better at it, even if it may not yield any rewards in the short term. I think it would be beneficial for me as a person. And besides, I think there's a good chance, I wouldn't say that for sure, I don't know, but there's a good chance at least one person enjoys watching the VODs for one specific game that I play, that is disappointed that I haven't played Vampire Therapist in 2 months. Like, I think there's someone. I think one person in my live chat a while ago said that they enjoyed my Vampire Therapist streams, and I don't remember who this person is exactly. All I remember is that message. And so now when I think, okay, maybe I should just abandon Vampire Therapist, is a little nudge in my head that goes, no, you should play it. There's this one person who enjoys watching them. Fuck. Okay. I guess I must. I have to. In other words, Shaman got a lot of unfinished half-developed papers that he left abandoned because he had new interesting ideas. Now he feels bad, wants to finish those. Yeah, pretty much, exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah, well, it's that, but you know, it's I don't have that many half-developed papers. I don't develop any papers at all. I hate writing. But no, yeah, like half-developed ideas or projects that I abandon for new interesting ones. I don't think it's necessarily all terrible, because you can kind of start a project and grow from it, you know, like learn from it. Even if it's unfinished, there are things to gain from it. But getting into the habit of starting things and not finishing them is bad. I want to avoid that, and in an effort to avoid that, I'm going to play Vampire Therapist, even though I was going to say even though it's like historically been one of the less popular games, but no, it's actually not that unpopular. It's actually somewhat popular on my channel compared to the other shit I play. So it's just I haven't. Scarlet Lily says, greetings, hello. Who's your favorite philosopher / school of thought? My favorite philosopher is the GOAT himself, Søren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher. Some argue as the father of existentialism, although he himself didn't quite call it that, I think, but he's my GOAT. He's my favorite philosopher. That's favorite. Do I think he's totally right on everything? Not exactly, because that's no one's ideas are completely like bulletproof. The history of philosophy has seen an exchange of ideas that have attempted to tear down and tackle everything that's ever been developed, because that's just what philosophers do. We would like to destroy each other and tell each other we're wrong, like some of my other fellow librarians that come to mind. And I don't think he gets everything right, but for the things that Kierkegaard does get right, I think he expresses in a way that makes me go, yes, exactly, he's cooking. That's what I mean. Hi Chairman, only popping by to say hi and bye. Last exam for the years today, so just want to say if you're still here in 3 hours, see you there, not see you next stream. Cool. Good luck on the exam. See you next stream. I probably won't be here in 3 hours, so I'll see you next stream, but good luck on the exam. Good luck. Yes, those are my thoughts. Yeah, I think it's like an obligatory thing for me to start every stream talking about my meta-analysis of what I do as a streamer. To people who largely don't care, I suppose it's on brand at this point, right? It's a philosopher thing to do, to overthink things that no one else is thinking about. Regardless, whatever I do, I must underpin with this. I must underpin all of that rambling with this, right? Whatever I do, I'm happy that I can kind of know at least over the course of, you know, like the first, well, how long has it been? 20 minutes? Over the course of the first 20 minutes of the stream, someone will pop up and someone will say something. This has been true since I started, and that is crazy. That's not something people, a lot of VTubers, a lot of like indie VTubers I've seen, that I've observed, like smaller ones that just start out on their own, they have to deal with the gauntlet that is just 0 or 1 viewer, like for an extended period of time. Not just the silence in chat, but a silence in knowing that when you say something, it's madness. Nobody else is listening. I've never had to deal with that yet. Just strange. Maybe that's something I'll have to deal with if I stream League of Legends. But for now, you know, that's not something I've had to deal with yet, and that has taken off a lot of pressure from my shoulders. Because the moment there's someone else to bounce off of, streaming is so much easier. Streaming is so hard if there's nothing there, because you're just recording a video at that point. And I don't think it's too hard either. I've recorded videos in the past, but I would imagine I would learn, because ultimately I want to stream, it would be good to practice streaming rather than practice recording. Although those skills are so much fun. Okay, I'll stop talking about it. Personal streamer answers personal problems of the regulars. These aren't even my personal problems. These are the fun problems. I have yet the personal problems I'm bringing to Andro Majos today. That's what's happening. Now the local chairman and chancellor cannot fail. I'm gonna get 0% again now. Okay, good luck. Down on, oh, how down are you on collabs? Maybe those help. That's true. Those do help. That's a good point. I am not sure how I want to tackle collabs because, going to be frankly honest, I don't have much time to watch other people that much. But when I'm looking around for smaller indie VTubers, I personally, and this is me, you know, there's a sort of reluctance, I think. There's a sort of come together reluctance in the sphere of VTubers to stick together. First of all, right? And unlike YouTubers, for example, YouTubers like to fling shit all the time. VTubers, generally, there's a flow of it that's like, you know, we should all support each other, at least the smaller ones. And then there's like, of course, drama, and there's like, you know, toxicity, and there's terrible people, like there is for everything. But I think generally, in the community of small VTubers, it's sort of kumbaya, support each other, right? Either that or like you just ignore someone else, you know? The saying, if you have nothing positive to say, don't say anything. I think totally true applies here. However, I'm about to say something that's not nice. I think a lot of VTubers, or at least a lot of people who are my size, are not very interesting. Yes, I know, rich coming from me, but you have to hear me out. I'm not saying those people are uninteresting forever and they are not worth watching. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying I have not observed them do interesting things, and I'm drawn to people who do interesting things that are at least not too derivative, you know, like at least be 1 or 2 layers above the standard, you know, derivation that is the uninspired Twitch streamer, right? Or like YouTube streamer, whatever streamer, right? Which I like to think I try to hold myself upon. I don't think I get it right all the time, but I think I try. But a lot of people my size don't try. They tend to do the same thing, and I think if they're comfortable and happy with that, that's great. But I'm personally not that interested in collabing with people just for the sake of collabing. If I'm gonna collaborate with someone, it needs to specifically be something I can only do with them, or you know, like something to that effect, right? And that's kind of weird because most normal people, I recognize that this is a weird, strange, perhaps even wrong idea of what a collaboration is. But to me, I don't think because I'm not at a size yet where it matters, I think it should be less about just hanging out with just multiple people hanging out. That's one thing. my size, and also two, I'm just not good at just hanging out. I have terrible. I don't have social anxiety. I just have ineptitude, I would say. But if I want to collaborate with someone, I think it must be something that's really worth doing. Like, this is like, like this collaboration makes sense. It's not just this person collabing with this person just because they can, or just because they're friends or whatever. Even though I'm not saying that's wrong, I think it's more interesting to me if there is a reason. Maybe another philosopher VTuber. Here's the thing, there's no other philosopher VTuber. Just excited to admire Chairman is trying to understand how to feel streaming and how to maintain professionalism. Yeah, it's just a little, it's just a neurosis I have, I suppose. But yeah, like, this is the type of thing. There's no other philosopher VTuber. Yep, there are. I will say here's the thing. There are in other languages, I believe, not in English, but there are other people in other languages who are VTubers who talk about philosophy. There are several philosophy-based VTubers. There are several VTubers who enjoy talking and sharing philosophy and making philosophy content around philosophy. I am not a philosophy VTuber. I'm a philosopher VTuber. I'm just as Gargura is not a VTuber who talks about sharks. She is a shark VTuber. She doesn't talk about sharks. That's not like, she is a shark, right? I'm less someone who, I am a philosopher the same way Gura is a shark. There we go. Does that make sense? Yeah. I raised Gargura because she's like the most, she's like the biggest one, and it's very easy to, like, you know. Yeah. Okay, I'm a philosopher as much as Gura is a shark, and so because of that, there is not a single other philosopher VTuber. There are VTubers who do philosophy content, I'm aware of, that do it in different languages, but no one does it even in English. We find a law and ethics VTuber. Is there a law and ethics VTuber? That'd be interesting. Yeah. So, like, there are probably people who do something that are similar, but there's no one that goes exactly by it. Philosophy, I would say. For example, like, so someone who does, like, someone who talks about, like, ethics would, you know, be effectively the same thing, but not quite the same. You know what I mean? Anyways, point is, I'm totally down to collaborate with another philosopher VTuber, but this person has to, and maybe even a philosophy VTuber. There's like a ranking. It's like, the priority goes philosopher VTuber, a philosophy YouTuber, a VTuber, and then anyone else who's also a VTuber who talks about things that overlap and are similar. That's like my, if I were to do a philosophy collab, I would look for, with VTubers, I would look for these people. Anyways, I'm as much so I am a philosopher the same way Gura is a shark, and I'm not interested so much in talking about being a shark so much as I am interested in being a shark. Does that make sense? That's what's going on here. I talk too much. It's been 30 minutes. I should play the video game. Thank you for the question, though. Scarlet Lily, thank you for the questions. I should play the video game. But I set it up. Okay. We're playing the video game now. It's been 30 minutes. It's been 30 minutes. My yap timer has rang in my head. I shouldn't talk not about the game anymore. I should just talk about the game. And if I want to just talk, I should make a just talking stream. Do that. I'm down to collaborate with a philosophy VTuber, but this person has to exist. True. Exactly. And right now, this person does not exist. Right now. Excuse me. How do I... You hear it? Or is it too low? Or maybe too loud? Maybe a little low. I think they fixed it. Yeah, they fixed the main menu to not be so deafening. Right? Wait, I'm not there yet. Hold on. I'm here now. Okay. Am I here now? I'm here now. How do I take off my clothes? There we go. Goodbye, parrot. You were never needed. Okay. Maybe Shaman needs another rant stream. I don't know if I do yet. I think there are many things to rant about, but a lot of them are things that are unrelated, and I don't want it to bleed. I don't want anything unrelated to bleed into Karasufuno's channel, you know? Okay. But maybe I will do a rant stream. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. Or maybe I'll do another stream of something else and I'll just complain that stream. I can imagine what that would look like, but I won't tell you yet because I don't want to spoil the surprise. Also, one last thing before we begin. I completely forgot to mention this. One last thing before we begin is I did mention, like yesterday or 2 days ago, 2 days ago, that I would stream on Wednesday, and it might be a karaoke stream, an unarchived karaoke stream. I realized two things. One, I need to practice more, and I know the karaoke stream is a practice stream. It's a practice karaoke, but I need to practice for the practice. You know what I mean? I need to practice for the practice. I've not had enough practice yet. Excuse me. Second thing is I want to stream it during the weekend, ideally, because that's when the batch of episodes drop for Arcane Season 2. Sorry, yeah, so let me clarify. I was thinking of streaming a karaoke stream, and that was going to be... I was going to do the songs from Arcane's soundtrack. That's the animated series inspired by League of Legends that I've been watching. Season 2 has been dropping episodes every week. There's 3 acts, I think, to it, and we just finished Act 1, or I just finished Act 1. And there's going to be an Act 2 and an Act 3 on Saturday, I think. And so I want to do the streams on the Saturdays just for myself, so it's like, you know, just the hype is there and it's with me. But also, it'll be better for viewership probably. And also, I want to plan it in advance and schedule it in advance so it's not just last minute popping up. Because I think some people want to see it. I have been made aware that some people really want to see a karaoke stream or something to that effect. Just, you know, to scratch the bug, right? How terrible is Karasufuno singing really? Well, I can't give you a direct answer without just doing that, so we might as well just do that. No more. Okay, that's it. No more talking. I'm gonna play Vampire Therapist now. Is this good? Yeah, I think this is good. Right. We're back with Andromahos. Are the curtains fixed? Let's see. There's a little loading hourglass now. I don't know if that was there before. I don't think it was. Maybe it was though. Oh, he's not saying it. Samuel, my dear. I do look forward to our chats. How are you feeling tonight? That's what he said.
I gotta confess, boss, I'm a little down. I love helping other vampires, but getting therapy myself sometimes ain't much fun.
I understand. Looking in the mirror is difficult for any human.
Too loud.
Much more so when they don't cast a reflection.
It looks kind of loud to me. This is okay. Okay, it should be okay, right? Okay, it should be okay.
You ain't kidding. It just seems like there's always work to do, you know? Like my walking in the woods for 90 years wasn't nearly enough time.
I dare say you are correct. I believe that we must never cease our walking in the woods. There is no mystery deeper than that of our own existence.
Where do vampires come from anyway?
Where do vampires come from, anyways?
Well, Samuel, when two vampires love each other very much,
Come on, boss, that's not what I'm asking. Where do we come from?
the answer to that is much older than recorded history, my friend. But let us focus on you.
I don't even think that's how vampires... Vampires don't... They don't procreate, do they? I don't know.
We should start with some meditation and determine what thoughts are most important to you right now. Close your eyes and envision your place of comfort.
Okay.
I ain't good at being a therapist.
Shit.
Is my hat weird?
Have to
It's
do-
been Sam.
How are you feeling, my friend?
Did I do it? Wait, hold on.
Pretty good. I gotta say, my head's been a mess of thoughts.
Okay, I
lately.
think I did it. Alright.
I think I was afraid of therapy today.
Why is that, my friend? What thoughts came up?
Terrible ones dentro my house.
Well, after last time, I think I was stewing a bit. Just being real angry at myself for joining that nasty cult in the first place.
Hold on, I forgot I can read this. And there's like
They preyed on the vulnerable, as cults tend to do. If you had been a man of means with a robust support system,
Hey, stop
I
talking.
doubt they would have noticed you.
Yeah, I know. And honestly, I'm mad about that too.
Oh,
I
they're
mean,
talking
my
without...
country did me real
Right,
wrong
okay,
and put
well.
me in that sorry state to begin with.
I do not remember. I do not remember what the last thing we did was. Genuinely do not. Alright, well, you know what? Then it doesn't matter, I suppose.
This sounds like a proverbial can of worms.
Yeah, you could definitely say that. After we talked last time,
It's been
I
2
kept
months,
thinking,
Doc. You're
what
gonna have to
could I have done
refresh me.
differently? And the answer amounts
Excuse
to
me.
horse shit. All that law breaking I did, all that murdering and stealing and doing no good, that was my country failing me.
Let us slow down, Samuel. You are making a bit of a logical leap. I have great admiration and empathy for you, my friend, but it is disrespectful to those you hurt to blame anyone but yourself.
I mean, I guess I could have died. Suppose that would have been kinder. But that's a lot to ask a boy to do.
I am not suggesting that you should have died, and I do not suggest that your country was without fault. However, your country had its role, and you had yours.
Surprisingly relevant.
You are using a cognitive distortion called blaming. When we engage in blaming, we ignore or wipe away our own faults, attributing them to someone or something else.
Okay.
Our faults are precious, Samuel. We cannot be ourselves without them. Do not wipe them away.
Okay.
I mean, I just wish things hadn't been the way they were. If my country had taken a better trail, maybe I would have turned out different.
Differently. I am sorry to interrupt, but Senora Deste might correct you less gently. Now then, perhaps it would help to put blaming into perspective. It is always humbling to see ourselves in the mirrors of our minds, is it not? Let's try some examples. See if you can tell when I am blaming. I turned into a bat the other day and flew right into a tree. Who put that tree there?
Is that blaming? Yeah.
Blaming someone else or the tree for you being clumsy, that ain't gonna do anyone much good. I smacked into my fair share of trees back when I was a youngster, but that was definitely my fault.
Of course, there is no shame in being a novice flyer as a young vampire, but we can be insecure creatures. That's our humanity at work. I was unable to perform in bed with Crimson the other night. It must have been her fault.
That's also blaming, right?
Dang, that is some blaming. Takes two to tango, boss. Maybe there's some bad blood brewing between you two. Man, I wish I hadn't heard about
No,
it.
that was just an example, Sam. Don't worry.
Do not worry, my friend. Crimson and I bring each other great satisfaction.
I didn't want to hear that either, Andrew. Thank you.
All right, I get it.
I said nothing lurid, Samuel. Why are you so distressed?
Oh, singing great satisfaction. It's like hearing your parents talking about their sex lives. I mean, not that you're... forget I said anything.
All right, Samuel, let us move on. The interface on this widely used new vampire dating app is so modern. How do they expect anyone to use this cursed thing?
I don't think that's blaming necessarily.
Did you see the football game the other night? My preferred team played with great skill and should have won. The referee was clearly an agent of the Dark Lord.
That's That's not blaming
It
you
is the
either.
fault of the cursed sun that we must live in darkness.
The sun can't help being the sun, so don't go blaming it. The way I see it, we got our place. That ain't nobody's fault.
Well done, Samuel. Perhaps the sun is even more brilliant in our memories, and seeing the real thing would spoil it.
Well, that's one way of thinking about it.
There are some blaming distortions you missed in there, my friend.
What?
Listen once more.
Are they all?
I turned into a bat the other day and flew right into a tree.
Blaming
Yeah,
someone
that one
I
is-
smacked.
Of course. I was unable to perform in bed with...
That was also.
All right.
I said nothing lurid, Samuel.
Sing it.
Wait, why are we repeating? No, we're repeating.
The interface on this widely used new vampire dating app is so modern. How do they expect anyone to use this cursed
It's not
thing?
really blaming. That you're just kind of. I guess you are. I guess you're saying. I guess the implication is like you're not. Because I can imagine someone saying this sentence and being able to use the app, I guess. And that bit is like feedback. Like I'm interacting with it. I know how the buttons work. I know how it goes. But it's a radical departure from what it previously was. And I go, well, it's so modern. How do they expect anyone to use this blasted thing, right? And it could be for like, you know, as feedback for, okay, please change the UI. I don't see any sort of blame.
Come on now, boss.
No,
Not every app out there is designed too good, but we can't expect machines to run themselves. Well, that's some blame.
I guess I
right
just
there.
interpreted the sentence
You are
incorrectly.
correct, Samuel.
Okay.
It was only hypothetical, of course. I do endeavor to keep up with the times. By the way, thank you again for teaching me Control-V and Control-C the other night. What a delightful trick.
A delightful trick indeed. Very useful for making YouTube descriptions.
Oh, yeah. Way faster than going through the edit menu all the time.
You youngsters always find the latest tricks. Let's keep going, though. Did you see the football game the other night? My preferred team played with great skill and should have won. The referee was clearly an agent of the Dark
I guess
Lord.
you're blaming like someone else.
Now, hold on, Andy. I think I saw the game you're talking about, and you're just blaming the ref for your team's mistakes. You got a great tight end, but one that
These
plays a little
distortions
dirty.
are getting a little harder to
Excuse
track
me.
for me. Yeah.
I didn't mean it like that. Oh, heck, I can't talk right today.
It's quite all right. Isn't getting dirty the point of play?
I think I get it. I ain't trying to erase what I did. I'm just bitter that I felt like I had no choice at all. And it all goes back to the United States taking my daddy away for their manifest destiny.
Is that lore? Was
I'm mad at him, too. Dying for his country. What kind of nonsense is that? How'd his country pay him back?
well. Unfortunately relevant.
But making my poor ma marry a drunk who beat the daylights out of her and his kids? Ain't no damn wonder I turned out the way I did.
That must have been devastating, Samuel. Countries are not human. They cannot feel. And stories such as yours prove it.
I mean, what the hell, Andy? My daddy's corpse didn't give a shit about no United States of America. It's kind of funny when you think about it. He died fighting the British so the
Oh,
U.S.
them.
could say they own Missouri. Who the fuck cares? I'm telling you, Andy, the best thing about being dead is realizing how little that nationalism crap matters.
Desire for identity can create monsters worse than we. What happened after your father died?
Well, we didn't have nothing. The money was running out, so my ma got married to a hard man who drank even harder. He beat up my older brother, Jeb, for fun. And once Jeb started fighting back, dear old stepdad came for me. And that's when my brother killed him.
It sounds like a tragedy from my own country's mythology. I am sorry that such a thing happened to you, Samuel. Your brother was brave.
No kidding. We went on the run together, but he was the one who kept us alive and fed, mostly through stealing and begging. Once we stopped being cute, begging didn't work anymore, so we moved up to robbing and killing. Killed my first man at 12, and then it got a little too easy.
That is young. I cannot imagine how difficult that must have been, Samuel. My country asked me to kill at 20.
My
and I
country
still
hasn't asked me to
remember
kill
how
anyone yet,
devastating it felt.
thankfully.
Yeah, well, nobody told me to do it. Like you said, that was all me. I don't think anyone was
Trying to
surprised
insert
either.
myself in this conversation between two other people. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that. That's very rude of me. I shouldn't have done that.
When my brother and I rode into a town, you should have seen the way people looked at us.
It's not about me. It's
They
about
knew
Sam
we were
and
trouble, and we were
Andy.
determined as hell to prove him right.
A moment, Samuel. I believe this is an opportunity for some growth.
It's them distortions again, huh?
To err is human, as they say. Do not be discouraged. There is something in what you just said that you cannot be sure of. Can you tell me what it is?
I guess there ain't no way of knowing that people thought we were trouble.
That's right, Samuel. There is one way of knowing exactly what they were thinking, and that would be to read their minds. Thus is the cognitive distortion called
Oh,
mind
okay.
reading. Yes, we can weigh evidence and make predictions, but never with complete certainty.
I was a dirty little thieving murderer. I don't blame him for judging me.
Yeah, but they don't know that.
First, that's labeling. Second, one of those people might have been patient and gentle, one that had an experience like yours. You cannot know. With your mind reading, do you see how you made everyone your enemy?
Yeah. You're right. You're damn right.
No one expects a child to be perfectly aware
The
of
voice lines are
themselves
still
and
cut
their
a
own
little too
struggle.
early, but it's fine.
Remember, start with compassion for yourself. Here, let us do an exercise to help you recognize mind reading.
Okay, that was very early. They definitely should try to fix that. It is a little jarring sometimes.
Jesus Christ would have disliked the idea of anal intercourse.
I mean, what did I miss? Was it the game wasn't like this when I left? Was it, or not when I left? When I last had a session, was it? Oh. Would he have disliked it? Is that mine? Am I doing? Yes.
I know that's mind reading right there. Unless you asked Jesus Christ himself and he told you, there's no way you'd know how he feels about
You
butt
can
sex.
kind of infer from some scripture, I think, but all right, never mind. I'm not gonna dwell on the point.
Very good, Zach.
It's a funny
Many
vampire
in my
game.
time have claimed to know the mind of Jesus Christ, and none of them have ever even met him.
You were there when he was kicking around. You ever meet him?
No, that part of the world was never really vampire-friendly. The chair you're sitting in is one of his, though. Magnificent, isn't it?
One of his what? Was the E-girl and the Mr. Hyde teenagers guy last time? Yes, so there's an E-girl. There is a Jekyll Hyde scientist. There is a stage performer, like a Shakespearean actor, and there is an elitist art connoisseur. Those are the types of people that exist in this game so far.
Jesus Christ made this chair?
I bought it cheaply before he became a big deal. He was certainly ahead of his time as a carpenter.
Dang. Now I feel awkward sitting in this thing.
I wouldn't. I'd feel
More than
great.
2,000 years old, Samuel. It is still just a chair, and has experienced millennia of past wind. Don't worry about it. Crimson is upset with me because I forgot to take out the garbage. I know, because she told me so.
Well,
I
that's
sent
not
my friend Vlad
mind
an
reading.
internet message, and he left it on red. He must hate me.
That's some mind reading for sure. There's no way you know what Vlad's thinking. Maybe he wasn't ready to answer, or maybe he forgot.
I have messages I haven't answered yet. Fuck. I have messages I haven't answered yet, and they just reminded me I should answer them. Okay, I'll do that after stream. Okay.
Excellent, Samuel. That's correct. There are endless reasons why Vlad would leave my messages on red, and only Vlad knows them. Reading too much into an internet message is a massive waste of time.
Reading most internet messages is a waste of time as well. I will concur.
The Pony Express was a lot healthier, I think. This internet stuff makes people get real nutty.
Mortals are in more of a rush than we are, I'm afraid. Let us continue. One of the patrons of my club was having dirty thoughts about me. I know because I read his mind with my vampiric powers.
Well, you did read his mind then, I suppose.
I told our bouncer, Bert, a funny joke the other day. He was quiet, but very amused.
How the heck would you know if Bert was amused by your jokes? That's clearly mind reading.
You are correct, Samuel. No one knows what Bert is thinking. I like to think he dreams of butterflies. But who can say?
I don't think he's thinking of butterflies.
Then you are mind reading, Samuel. Let Bert be Bert.
Yeah, I guess so.
I believe you now understand that mind reading may have closed the door on some opportunities for you.
I suppose. I can't really know either way, but I guess that's the point of all this. Knowing what's real and what's not.
I forget that this is a video game sometimes. Mind reading has closed some doors on you. Shit, yeah, you're right.
Exactly, Samuel. So tell me, what happened to you and your brother?
You don't know already. I thought we were famous Wild West outlaws. They called us the Handsome Boys, on account of the fact that we were young and good-looking. I think we made as close to a living as possible while keeping up a life like that for some 35 years. They stopped calling us the Handsome Boys eventually. Mostly they just called us those two sumbitches. Jeb and I married a pair of sisters, even talked about settling down in some kind of fashion. I guess we got greedy, though. One last big job, as they say in the pictures. Met this fella in a saloon who'd heard of us. Went by Ernie. He said he'd help us take down the Pioneer Missouri Bank. A take of $30,000, split 3 ways. That's about $1 million in today's dollars, but that kind of money was unthinkable back when. We got the money all right, but my brother got shot in the head. Dead before he even hit the ground. I didn't know who did it, so in my rage, I killed every soul in that bank. Ernie and I ran off with that dirty money, but weren't nothing the same after that. When she heard the news, my sister-in-law was screaming so loud she scared the coyotes away. My wife left with her that night, and I didn't see either of them ever again. Not sure I wanted to. I had $15,000 and no interest in spending it. Just sat there in a sack. When Ernie invited me to join his gang, I saw no reason not to. I'm pretty sure I signed that devil's contract as soon as I started killing them folks in the bank.
I am sorry, Samuel. That is a truly horrifying story. I can hear the pain in your voice. Your brother was precious to you.
Yeah. He wasn't a good man, Andy. But he kept me safe. Without him, I knew I'd be doomed. I was certain I had no choice but to join the Mystic Bastards. Yeah, I know. Cognitive distortion.
I know you know, Samuel. A new one, but I think you can identify it on your own. What is the cognitive distortion you are displaying now?
I was so sure I was right to join the Mystic Bastards. Ain't nobody could have convinced me otherwise.
Indeed, Samuel. This cognitive distortion is known as being always right. And when you are always right, your choices are limited, even if they lead to doom. We become so convinced that only we have the appropriate perspective, even in a world of infinite possibilities.
I know some librarians that are like that, yes.
One would expect immortals to be immune to this distortion after seeing their beliefs challenged over generations. But we are just as susceptible to being always right. Let's try some examples so you can identify when I am always right. I have the experience of ages. My authority cannot be questioned.
Okay, Boomer.
Excuse me?
Just something I hear the kids say when old mortal folk are acting like they're always right. The folks born after World War II are real good at destroying the world, but they assume age leads to wisdom. It ain't necessarily so.
You are always right about that. Well done, Samuel. With my multi-generational economic expertise, I am confident that market conditions will result in mass layoffs in the next quarter. I know that turning another into a vampire inevitably results in resentment.
That sounds like you're always right. I know a lot of us vampires ain't too happy with our lot in life, but we ain't always resentful.
That is correct, Samuel. Of course, we must be careful when choosing whom we turn and when. Choosing to live forever is not a choice casually made.
It ain't usually a choice at all.
But we will endeavor to break that cycle, my friend. We have enough clients already without having more resentful immortals running around. Let us continue.
You can end your own life as a vampire, right? I think so. Like, you're immortal, but you're not indestructible, right?
I know for a fact that vampires become misanthropic as they age. I do not need your perspective.
And now hold on, you ain't always right. You thinking we're gonna turn into misanthropes is limiting you from making new vampires, but that's just your thinking.
Very good, my dear Samuel. Caution is warranted when bringing a new soul into the dark, but I must consider perspectives other than my own. I have not had much good fortune with my children of darkness, but I am indeed not the only judge of character.
You got kids, Andy?
I had many dark children before I recognized the gravity inherent in doing so. I only wish more of my brethren could learn what a responsibility it is to begin the unlife of another.
Oh yeah, same.
I know the internet is a passing fad. I have seen technology come and go, so I can trust my own expertise.
I think you're doing a little always right there, Andy. A lot of folks had unwavering confidence that the fax machine was going to stick around forever, but they weren't right neither.
Truly? I still use my fax machine. It is the preferred mode of communication among vampires here in Germany.
Must be a German thing then. More than it is a vampire thing.
Heck, I guess that just proves no one is always right about technology. I think I get it, boss. If I had found folks to listen to other than myself, maybe I wouldn't have joined up with Ernie's gang.
Perhaps, perhaps not. You had plenty of reasons for making the choices you made. Reflecting on them is what helps us to grow.
Yeah, I'm a lucky fella all in all. I did some stuff with those vampires that I was pretty sure erased any humanity I had left. but I was wrong. Them transcendentalists I hold up with were ready to help me no matter how nasty I was. And I know I've done a lot of thinking on my own, but I owe them everything.
I've done a lot of thinking on my own, but I owe them everything. Is that so, Samuel? Can you point out your own distortion there?
It's my old favorite sneaking up on me,
Yes.
disqualifying the positive. I did plenty of work on myself.
That's right, Samuel. And why were the transcendentalists able to help you? We just went over it tonight.
I realized I wasn't always right. I was ready to start receiving help.
Excellent, Samuel. Your capacity for self-reflection, and so quickly, is truly inspiring. I almost feel as though my blood is circulating on its own.
Oh, come on, Andy. I'm just a fella.
You have earned a reprieve from disqualifying the positive, my friend. Embrace it. I believe we have had a productive session today. Let us not press matters. This is difficult work, and you are handling it wonderfully. How do you feel?
You know, I feel okay. Somehow it's better than feeling good. What happened is what happened. Some bad stuff happened to me, and I did some bad stuff. And none of it lasts forever. That's the nice thing about having all the time in the world.
God, I wish I had all the time in the world. All right.
Clients have made you wise indeed, my dear Samuel. Now rest, my friend. You shall soon share your wisdom with your clients. I wish you a good night.
Yeah, I believe it's early coffin time for me tonight. Have a good night, Andy.
You as well, Samuel. Rest in peace.
The curtains are still kind of ugly. They're not that bad, though.
Samuel, greetings. You look a bit pale. May I offer you something to drink?
Yeah, you got any drinker's blood?
I know you are joking. You will not dilute your blood before a session.
Yeah, I know, you're right. I just don't know who I'm meeting tonight. Is it gonna be Dr. Drain or that Lord Luridus fella?
You only met a single individual last time, and you will meet only a single individual this time.
Okay. That must mean it's easier, right?
Do not let Dr. Drain's avoidance of accountability confuse you.
You saw the guy, though. Lord Luridus ain't nothing like Dr. Drain.
And why do you think that is, Samuel?
It's easier for Dr. Drain to blame Luridus.
Well, maybe it's easier for Dr. Drain to blame Lord Luridus.
Correct, Samuel. A mild change in personality would be within Dr. Drain's control. Luridus is not, and therefore, Dr. Drain relinquishes control. Prepare yourself, my friend. Let us find the darkness that lives within Dr. Drain.
Blame should be good here. Control fallacy does a lot. I guess labeling. Personalization are always right. I do think he takes some of the things personally that he talks about and does. Like everything has to revolve around him in some way, but is it more that, or is it more like I'm always right and everything I've thought about I have been corrected because of my scientific expertise, right? I think it's more that, actually. Let's do that. It's a new one anyways.
All right, I think I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Do not fear, Samuel. I shall not let Dr. Drain hurt you, no matter what he is calling himself. Do what you do best.
I will, I promise. And here he comes, whoever he is today.
Probably just Drain.
Doc?
Somewhat taciturn today, then. Well, don't be upset with me. I did warn you about that beast. At least now you recognize the urgency in being rid of him. Perhaps now we can stop beating about the bush and actually fix my addiction problem.
I'm here to help, but if we're gonna lick this thing, we gotta do it honestly. And that means getting to the root of the problem.
I tire of this self-examination process. There must be something efficacious that I can do. Perhaps some sort of aversion therapy. I am willing to do whatever it takes to make that villain just go away.
Then you gotta be willing to address the big old elephant in the room.
That villain is you, my friend.
And what is that?
He's kind of odd.
You and Lord Luridus ain't two different people. You keep talking about him like he's someone else, but you both got the same brain in there.
Complete and utter nonsense. You've met him. We share absolutely nothing in common. And what's more, I am fully aware that he hates me. Take a look at this note he left on my desk.
That's supposed to be you there with the hyper-penis?
They're the same person. They're the same. You have the same. Probably.
Indeed. Juvenile humor, to be sure. Certainly nothing I would produce.
Oh, not tiny. Oh. It's the same, and it's like it's the same person. Imagine if you were bipolar and you insult yourself by saying something like that. Terrible. I'm so sorry for you, Dr. Drain. This is a problem we must get rid of. A problem indeed.
Ain't he got the same penis, though?
Quite so. I have no doubt he does the most terrible things with it.
So
The
somehow
most
he's got a
terrible
different
things.
brain than you do, but the same penis. Something ain't adding up here, Doc.
I resent what you are suggesting. I have no effect on what Lord Luridus does.
Uh-oh, you're blaming him.
I know you're a pretty responsible fella, but you're giving Lord Luridus more credit than he deserves.
What on earth are you talking about?
You know that old stereotype mortals like to spread about us where we can't go into a place until we're invited?
A
that a
ludicrous
stereotype?
idea with no basis in scientific truth.
I see. I
Ain't
thought it
you
was part of the
giving
canon.
Lord Luridus your permission to come in and do what he does when you take that plasma stuff?
I didn't invite him in the first time. I had no idea what I had created. That his presence would become an addiction was not known to me.
Dr. Drain, you're a scientist. Your stock and trade is in facts, ain't it? Let's leave thought out of this for now. You gotta be my scientist here and stick to what we know.
Very well. Yes. The genesis of Lord Luridus was in the actions and choices I took. Are you quite satisfied?
Doc, we ain't here for my satisfaction. Do you really think that?
Well, the fact that I am upset right now certainly lends credence to the idea that you are trying to shame me.
I won't lie to you, Doc. The people that Lord Luridus has hurt probably would have a bone to pick with you. But I ain't here to punish nobody. That ain't the way to help you. In this room, we're working together. You're doing the hard work, and I'm just giving you support. Catch my drift, partner?
And so you do me even greater shame through kindness. I cannot win. Perhaps I should simply let that beast, Lord Luridus, have his way with me.
Oh, no.
Come on now, Doc. You're jumping right to doom there. There are so many ways this therapy thing could go for you. It ain't we destroy Lord Luridus or Lord Luridus wins. Jumping right to catastrophe just ain't realistic. Already you're fighting him by being here. That means there's definitely something in the middle. And working together, we'll make things better. Maybe not completely better. This work ain't never done.
Of course, I am forgetting myself. I'm not usually prone to extremes. I shall attempt to be more mindful.
I ain't expecting you to be perfect, Doc. And I don't want you to expect perfection from yourself either. What I'm asking you for is self-compassion. That ain't erasing blame. It's just approaching yourself from a place of understanding. That's a scientific method, ain't it?
I don't think that is quite exactly a scientific.
I doubt many in the scientific community would agree with such a statement, but I believe I understand the thrust of it.
I do as well.
We cannot address facts if we mask them in emotionality.
That's exactly it, Doc. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Indeed. Thus my attempt to synthesize the thought properly.
Well, thank the dark powers that made us. Someone in here's the smart one.
Very well. We shall take a strategic, scientifically sound approach. We will agree upon facts, develop hypotheses, test and validate.
I suppose that's what we're doing now.
If I rely on the science, I will never be wrong.
Hold on a sec. Before we jump in, Doc, I gotta challenge you. Even science ain't gonna make it certain you're always right.
Case in point. Actually, no, there's no specific case in point. The entire premise of the scientific method is not so much that we are establishing, things that are never wrong. It's more just making it. We're just observing behavior and patterns in the world that tend to be reproducible in the same sort of predictable way. But it's sort of like the black swan phenomenon, right? I don't know.
The answers science gives you might not be the answers that are best for you. I just want you to keep your mind open, all right?
My mind is always open. I'm a scientist.
I'm just gonna reflect that back to you and see if you think that's true. You're saying being a scientist means your mind is always, without fail, open. Well, that sounds a bit ridiculous. Very well. I shall endeavor to ensure that my thinking is flexible. Well, sounds good to me, compadre. Let's start assembling them facts. Can I ask you some questions then? You may. Let us begin. All right, so you told me that the thing that makes your plasma addicting is how good it makes you feel when you wake up from it. From your scientific perspective, what makes it feel good?
From a chemical perspective, good feelings, or positive emotions, are the result of neurotransmitter action. Considering the specific emotions felt in the immediate moment are contentment and satisfaction, it is certain that I am experiencing an oxytocin and dopamine release.
Probably.
It is a primal limbic response. In laboratory settings, we observe a constant drive in animals towards stimulating the release of amygdala-receptive neurotransmitters.
I think you're gonna need to boil that down for me, Doc.
I did not come here to teach, but so be it. Ask your questions.
No, I get it. I completely understand what he's talking about, so I don't actually have any
So
questions.
what's all this stuff really mean in the end, Doc? Why's this neurotransmitter stuff even matter?
An intriguing question. Naturally, emotion does not have a practical evolutionary application on its own. However, these emotions signal to the reptilian brain whether or not we are under threat.
Oh, well, dang, now I think we're getting somewhere. I think the answer's right in front of us.
Oh? And what is it that your rooting, tooting brain can synthesize that mine cannot?
You need to go out more. Yeah.
You don't feel safe on your own. Taking that plasma forces you to get that neurotransmitter hit.
An intriguing theory. However, evidence stands against it. Like it or not, I am a vampire. The only thing that may threaten me is the sun or a more powerful vampire.
Yes, but it's not threatening your, like, your physical existence. More so it is threatening your identity, right?
I should not be experiencing feelings of mortal danger. I am not immortal. Logically, I should know such a thing is ridiculous.
Shit.
It seems the doctor is setting himself up to fail with his own high standards once again, Samuel.
I should not.
There's them should statements again, Doc. It doesn't matter what logic says. You still got that part of your brain that says it's in danger, and that part doesn't care about logic.
An astute point, and an inconvenient one. That we should be saddled with such vestigial, primal concerns is most unfortunate.
Most unfortunate indeed.
Can't avoid the fact that we still got them human concerns. At least we don't gotta poop, huh?
We don't? Huh.
Oh dear. And you are doing so well. At least I have nothing to fear from you.
It's true, though. We're still animals, partner. We gotta satisfy the animal. Just not through pooping.
But we are immortal. Why do we have animal needs, fears, and emotions? What possible use do they have? It is such a disappointing notion, however, to think that we cannot transcend our reptilian brain, even when we are beyond death.
Well, you do come from mortality. You transition from mortality to immortality, right? No one is born immortal. Say? I don't know. I certainly could imagine that regressive traits, if one might choose to call it that, would exist in an immortal being solely because the ideal, optimal, perhaps, traits for an immortal being to thrive are not so much like there's not you don't create and reproduce enough for the evolutionary chain to actually remove bad traits from the pool. Does that make sense? I don't know. You're the scientist, Drain. You tell me.
We're dealing in facts, though, and I think what we're coming to is that your reptilian brain doesn't feel safe.
Which is absolutely ridiculous. But I must admit that it is somehow true. What a devastating revelation. Dr. Drain, for all his scientific achievement, is just an emotional little laboratory rat who bases all his decisions in fear.
That's not all case.
Man, you just jump right to that extreme. You're probably the smartest fella I ever met, Doc. You ain't a science god, but who is? I think there's a lot of room between being a lab rat and being the perfect logical being.
You are, of course, correct. I am letting my emotions get the better of me. Most unscientific.
Doc, I want to go back to one of them things I was telling you about in our first session, and that's self-compassion. Let's say you had some vampire apprentice, a scientist like you, who didn't know nothing like what you know, and said they were down on themselves for all the reasons you are. What would you say to them?
Get good.
Well, I would explain that progress is non-linear. The scientific method, in fact, celebrates failure. That which does not conform to theory still informs theory.
Any chance you could put the scientist away and talk to their human side?
Well, I suppose I would say that it is fine, that all things are temporary, and the universe does not care to condemn them.
So how can we get you to say them things to yourself, Doc?
My situation is not the same. I was trained in the age of discovery. I bear the responsibility for that age.
I don't have the appropriate attack button for that.
What if this project of mine, to create the blood that will sustain the world, is not what I am here for? Then what is my purpose?
Well, let me ask you. What's the purpose of a gopher?
Rodentia geomedy. Rodents endemic to North America, known for their tunneling ability and as agricultural pests. I believe they are the prey of owls, snakes, and coyotes, and are omnivorous themselves, consuming vegetables, insects, and small mammals.
I wasn't expecting you to be so thorough. I don't think I knew half that stuff.
I have come to learn nearly everything there is to know about mammalian biology as a result of my research. Please get to the point.
I think I forgot what it was now.
The point was, nonetheless, knowing all those things and its behaviorisms and its predators and its prey, or its dietary habits. What is the purpose of a gopher? And when you ask that question and realize it's kind of pointless, you turn to yourself and ask the same question because you kind of apply the thing. It's like, oh, I'm also an animal. Okay. Quick librarian, preach good existentialism. It's not how it works. It's not just, I'm... You were born and you exist and now you have to deal with it.
That is not encouraging.
Hold on a sec, I think I've got it.
There's a sort of fear and anxiety that comes with existence that is natural. That is perhaps one of the greatest things to worry about.
Well, see, you're kind of like a gopher.
Am I now? Pray tell, how am I like a gopher?
Well, you live underground, and you're real alert all the time.
And
that's it.
Science save us.
Hold on, I think I remember now. Gophers have a purpose. Driving people crazy, that's what. Used to wreak havoc on the farmland back in Missouri.
Absolutely ridiculous. That is not their purpose. It's an ill-informed anthropocentric philosophy defined and subscribed to entirely by said anthropocentrists.
Yes, indeed.
I didn't know bugs could do that.
Anthropocentrists, not arthropods. Humans. Homo sapiens. I am saying that you have created a purpose for the gopher that the gopher is entirely unaware of.
So, who made your purpose, Dr. Drain?
What? Well, I did, I suppose.
So if you made it, you can change it, right?
But how could I change my purpose? I have always been a scientist. So that's what I am.
Is that not labeling? I guess not.
All right, well, let's take that scientific approach and try to figure out who the man behind the scientist is.
Very well. If we look at the behavior of our subject, myself, we can infer a few things. If we examine my behavior, one can draw a comparison to a threatened higher-thinking mammal. I spend much time in ensuring personal safety and security.
What about your more peaceful moments? What do they look like?
I believe these feelings are only medically induced through my special plasma. However, Dr. Drain appears to be at rest when he is full and satisfied.
And your synthetic blood doesn't do that for you.
I am forced to admit that at present, it does not.
Dr. Drain, what do you think of drinking something a little more fresh and human?
I will not. I do not have to. That depraved vampire, Lord Lyridus, is the source of all that is base and vulgar about my person.
Doc, you're blaming Lord Lyridus for something common to all vampires, including yourself. We need blood. That's just how it is. Ain't Lord Lyridus's fault. Now, I know you ain't comfortable with that need, but you can't offload everything you ain't happy with onto Lord Lyridus. That just makes him worse.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. So I was going to say, it was like, if you sort of compartmentalize in your head that you don't ever need channel all of that into blaming the sort of alter ego, if you will, you just end up doing all the things you proclaim are vulgar and crass anyways. If you don't, the substance that you take, the drug that he takes, is just sort of a shortcut to it.
You have not been listening
or
to
rather, that's just the path that goes towards it. If it weren't for, if the drug didn't exist, he would still, the root problem would still be there, and he would still be driven into those terrible decisions.
I didn't say that. I'm saying you're distancing yourself from your needs by saying they're Lord Luridus's
That
needs.
also probably is more relevant.
Well, what if you indulge Lord Luridus once in a while? Maybe you could keep him from coming out.
Do you not understand what I have been working toward for the last 400 years? I will finally be able to transcend this thing that I am. I shall be a parasite no more.
Come on, Dr. Drain, what you are ain't a parasite. Look what you've done with your time here.
Oh, forgive me for wanting to transcend the lifestyle of a female mosquito.
Well, heck, maybe you wouldn't be so keen to transcend if you didn't call yourself them names. We all gotta consume to live, Bronco. Ain't no such thing as a perpetual life machine.
I believe you are trying to invoke the first law of thermodynamics.
Refresh my memory.
Energy cannot
Mine
be
too,
destroyed
please.
or
Oh, yes.
created in an isolated system. It can only be transformed.
Oh, yeah, that's basically what I'm saying.
Well, it is a salient point, I must admit.
Dr. Drain, we really gotta talk about some kind of middle path here. Back home, we tried the whole abstinence thing a few times, and it didn't go too well. We tried to stop drinking, and that just made people only do bad drinking. We tried telling teenagers sex was evil, and that just made them want it even more while being ashamed of themselves. What if you just tried to do some of them things Lord Luridus does? Just don't do them the way he does.
I find the idea utterly repellent.
I do as well, but maybe Drain, you do have to go out and hook up.
Yeah, but then you go and take that plasma, and Lord Luridus makes the decisions. We don't want that, right?
Fine. Fine. I'll drink some blood. But I warn you, Sam, the price of failure is most dear. If I should lose my humanity, all of humanity will lose.
Ah, well, it's not just you.
Doc, you really can't be putting the weight of the world on your shoulders. That ain't something you can control, compadre. Now, I know you're a capable fella, but the world is gonna turn with or without you.
You think so? I can't imagine someone with my highly rational mind feeling so strongly if my prediction weren't firmly rooted in fact.
Highly rational mind.
I know it all seems real heavy right now. Just show yourself a little compassion and patience. Beating yourself up over a future that ain't happened yet isn't gonna help you. We need to go back to this thing I brought up before. You're a smart fella, Dr. Drain, but sometimes you're forgetting vampire commonality. We've all felt like the world was ending or that we're awful monsters. But them feelings are our perceptions alone.
Yes, I'm aware. Perhaps I've been a little too human in my wobbles. However, you forget my training and history.
Fwobble.
I am not an average vampire. I was trained by the great Professor William Harvey.
I don't know who that is, I'm sorry.
I have had 4 centuries to unlock the secrets of animal biology. I
So
a
have
duty
all of
to
his students,
humanity
right?
And to my own legacy. A duty I should not fail in. Otherwise, what was it all for?
Fuck.
Dr. Drain is so certain of what he must do, and he does not consider any other fate. We immortals often become stuck in such thinking, alas.
I have a duty to humanity.
Dr. Drain is so...
Hold your horses there, amigo. You say you've got a duty to humanity? Well, that ain't scientific at all. It ain't just anthropocentric. It's Dr. Drain-centric. Nobody
True.
said you had to do anything.
It's not just anthropocentric, it's Dr. Jane-centric. That is quite salient. Interesting.
Remember when we first started talking, I told you about them should statements? That's what you're doing, compadre. Just remember that them shoulds are yours.
Yes, I must be frustrating to you, Sam. I invoke the same delusions over and over again.
Hey, come on, Doc. You should be proud of yourself. You know what the difference is between you and vampires who never improve themselves?
Vampires who don't improve themselves.
You ain't like other vampires. You ain't concerned about being cool and sexy.
Oh yes, of course. It was a very deliberate choice of mine to not be cool or sexy.
Oh, a very deliberate choice indeed. Yes. Believe it or not, I chose to be this way.
Under normal circumstances, I'd be the cover model for Cool People Aficionado magazine, but I rejected their calls.
Wait, really?
No, not really. Do you actually think Cool People Aficionado magazine exists?
Well, it's like... I'm sure there's a magazine that's the equivalent.
Shucks, I guess now that you say it again, it sounds kind of silly. I meant to say the big difference between you and vampires who never improve is... You're smarter than they are. If anyone can lick this addiction problem, it's you.
I was smarter than other vampires yesterday, and it has availed me no solutions. I have a great many problems, but intellect is not one of them.
Yeah, I guess you're right. What I meant to say was,
Oh.
You're here. You've made a commitment to getting your
I was
head on
not
straight.
right
And
twice.
you're getting there, my friend. Already you're making some big changes and investing in yourself. I can see it. So let's cut Dr. Drain a break. How about it, amigo? He doesn't need the weight of the world on him. There's only one thing he should do, and that's have a little understanding and empathy for himself. You get me?
I didn't understand what the implication was when the answer popped up that was like, the difference is you're here. Because I just thought that was like, you are in the room right now in this conversation. But I didn't think, oh, well, you are in therapy actively trying to improve upon your problem. I didn't think that. I don't know why. I should have, but I didn't think that when that option came up, so I just avoided clicking it. Because I just thought that was a redundant answer. It's not a redundant answer. I'm an idiot.
Yes, I get you. Very well. I shall try to keep a clear head. And I will arrange to drink some real blood. There's plenty of it in the lab. I shall just liberate some of it.
Good man. We'll talk about how it's gone next month, all right?
Indeed. Until then, Sam. And thank you for your patience.
I ain't got nothing but time, amigo. You can thank me by being patient with yourself.
All the same, you have my thanks. I shall see you in a few weeks then. Farewell.
Hello.
Well done indeed, Samuel. I think we are starting to see a new version of the good doctor in the making.
I hope you're right, boss. That fella's awful hard on himself.
That is normal, my friend. Being a vampire takes a lot of self-acceptance. He is only taking his first steps in discovering this.
Yeah, fair enough. It took other people forgiving me for me to forgive myself.
And now you pass on this gift of compassion to Dr. Drain. Now, Samuel, the evening is still young. See what the night has to offer downstairs.
That sounds good, Andy.
Rest in peace, my friend.
Oh, we're going back to the bar? Okay. Alright, okay. Okay, sure. Okay. That's part of the game, yeah, I guess. I get too wrapped up in the therapy, I forget that this is also
always come
fun.
out of the doc sessions feeling dumber than ever. I'll check in with Crimson. She's always got some bartender's wisdom to share. Howdy, Crimson. Looks like a nice crowd tonight.
They're always a nice crowd, cowboy. We like to maintain an asshole-free zone.
That's pretty
I'll
good.
try not to be an asshole then.
I'm not worried about you, cowboy. You had a session tonight, didn't you?
Yeah, with the doctor fella. We had a hard talk about what being a vampire means. He's having a hard time coming to terms with it, even after 400 years.
I can understand that. I've stopped aging for the last 20 years and don't know how I feel about it yet. How do you think it went with him?
Pretty well.
I think we're finally getting somewhere, actually. It's funny, a lot of vampires forget they're human, but he keeps forgetting he's a vampire. But just like we can't opt out of being human, we can't opt out of being vampires either.
Must have been a hard talk, cowboy.
He
I
also forgets
sometimes
that he's
wonder
human.
What I am. Staying the same age, drinking Andy's blood to live. Don't get me wrong, I like not being dead, but I still feel like I'm living on borrowed time.
That's what mortality entails, I suppose.
Is this a good time to ask why you don't just join the dark side? It ain't that bad being dead.
I'm just not sure what I'd do with forever, you know? Eternity's a long time.
Eternity is less a long time and more stepping out of the bounds of what time is. I'm saving that for something else. I'm not going to talk about it any further.
Yeah, I think a lot of us vampires can't answer that question either. And I don't think there's one answer anyway.
There you go. So I guess I'll keep putting off the question.
But nobody's rushing you, Crimson.
You think I'd let anyone? But thanks for listening, cowboy. Now why don't you go mingle? There's a new fella in the kink room who's very interested to meet
In the
you.
what? Oh, right. That's a thing, yeah.
I guess I'll go be social then. Thanks, Crimson.
Oh, I hate being social.
Wait a sec, that ain't...
Greetings, my child.
Keep your distance, amigo. I know our kind ain't had good history, but I ain't in the mood for an exorcism or nothing.
Is that what he's here for?
Ah, my child of the dark. If I were to exorcise you, nothing would be left when I was done. Only the good Lord is free of sin. We are all children
Okay.
of darkness.
Okay.
Holy smokes, what Bible have you been reading?
I know my scripture, my son. However, I am by scripture and dark metal ordained, not by any church of man.
I see.
So, you're some kind of freelance priest?
Freelance priest is the way to put it, yeah.
Yes, I suppose I am. It is the only way I can give succor to those who need it most.
So I gotta ask, seeing as we're in a kink room, what kind of sucker are we talking about?
I follow in the path of the Lord. I share my body, and I share my blood.
Ain't this a little blasphemous for your
Yeah,
kind?
isn't that kind of blasphemous?
To whom, my child? God is in everything, including you, sweet vampire. Can God blaspheme against himself?
Good question. I don't have the answer to that yet. That wouldn't take a long time to explain because of how unfamiliar I am with the topic, so let's move on.
I merely wish to give comfort to those who live in darkness. And so, I choose to live in darkness with them. Come, my son. I shall give succor to you.
Okay.
Well, all right. Maybe if you stop calling it that.
God, this minigame is difficult. I guess I got it.
Thou shalt not want, my son. Are you comforted?
Yeah, I guess I am.
I know those of my faith have hunted your kind. Perhaps we fear our own sin, so we seek the sins of others.
Okay.
I seek only the Lord in everything. As do we all, whether we know it or not.
You know, I still don't care too much for the kinky vampire aspect of Vampire Therapist. I really was here for the therapy. And however, I feel like I'm the only person who's here for the therapy. Oh well.
You ain't wrong, I suppose.
It's not bad. It's just kind of like, alright, we're doing this now, I guess.
I am Kieran. It means little dark one. The night always did call to me.
Well, Kieran, I'm Sam, and I appreciate the blood, but I'm gonna turn in. A little sleepy now.
Go with God, my child of the night.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that.
I'll do just that.
A fine evening to you, Samuel. Are you ready for tonight's session with Signora Deste?
Signora Deste?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're making some good progress.
That is wonderful. Remember, though, that the road to inner peace is not a straight line.
True enough. I like to say I didn't make my path. Nature did.
Samuel, you have the makings of a poet.
Oh, I meant it more literally. When I was walking in the woods, I just walked where the land led me.
But you see, this is a wonderful metaphor. If there is a valley between two mountains, that is the path nature takes us on. We often choose to climb the mountain instead when the easier path is made for us. Your experience guides your intuition more than you might expect, my friend.
Weird view of God. That guy has it. Yeah. I wouldn't say weird. I've seen weirder. But it is certainly atypical. But I'm also playing a vampire game, so maybe it is typical context. I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with vampire media.
Guess it's that peasant wisdom the Signora mentions.
Be careful with the labeling, my friend.
I didn't mean it in a bad way. I ain't ashamed of being a peasant. I'm just folks, as we like to say.
I can see why the Signora has become quite fond of you. Are you prepared for your session with her?
I suppose inevitably I am.
Yeah, I think with our progress, there might be some other distortions to focus on. Let me think.
Is she always right? Maybe? Does she blame a lot? What does she do? She talks about being better than other people, what I remember. And she's like the only hope of her family or whatever. Okay.
All right, locked and loaded.
The people of your country have so many colorful phrases having to do with firearms. I do not understand the obsession.
Neither do I, Andromachos.
I can't explain it neither.
I shall leave you alone with the Signora, Samuel.
Howdy, Senora. Good to see you tonight.
You are looking forward to seeing me.
I suppose I was, yes. That makes you feel good about the session.
Well, sure I was. You're an interesting person, Senora. It's a privilege to get to know you.
I suppose you have learned something of manners yourself. I thought a lot about the things we talked about last time, you know.
That's good.
Oh,
You
yeah?
were supposed
What
to.
about exactly?
About how foolish I was for wasting my time for so long fighting against reality.
Ah.
Now hold on, Senora. Maybe you were fighting reality some, but that doesn't mean you were wasting your time. That fighting with reality is just part of what makes you human. It's your experience, your journey that you're learning from.
But if the aim was to control my family, I failed to achieve that aim.
Yeah, but that's real all or nothing aim, Senora. It's easy to fail when the conditions for winning are so narrow, right?
Yes. You are, of course, correct. Would that I had listened to the simpletons in my life earlier.
Shit.
Are you going to let her talk to you like that, Samuel?
Oh, you're talking about me. I am
Would
the
that I had listened to
simpleton.
the simpletons in my
Okay,
life.
okay.
Maybe you can start by not calling them simpletons.
I meant it as a compliment. I wish I could be a simpleton.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Not really.
I'm gonna need you to elaborate on that.
I mean what I say. Look at me, with my grand plans, my status, my dynasty, and all the pain that they have brought me.
I don't like.
Who is the true
Don't
fool,
like
me
that.
or the
I
simpleton?
don't. No, Isabella. I don't like you saying that because you sound a bit like me saying that, and I don't like the fact that I say it too. Fuck. All right.
Well, what if we're not fools or simpletons? What if we're just people being people? There's a lot of room between worms and gods, Senora.
Again, you prove your pastoral wisdom.
Well, I'm glad you've been doing some thinking.
Pastoral
You were
wisdom.
putting
Yes.
so much
It's a good
pressure
way
on
to put
yourself
it.
to be the one keeping your family going. I can tell how much it was weighing on you.
I spent so long trying to fix them, trying to transform them into something that they were not.
Ugh.
May I talk to you about my ex-husband, Sam?
You may. This is the appropriate setting for that.
Of course you can. I know he gave you a lot of grief.
He hurt me deeply, in so very many ways. He was the start of all my delusions because I thought I could fix him. I
Yeah.
thought Frankie was the way he was because I was not an ideal wife. That perhaps he would have been faithful if I had been as beautiful or fertile as a Medici.
Medici.
I know I have been arguing with reality, as you have said, but the idea of a fruitful marriage, sanctified by God, this was the only reality I had.
Well, at least now you know it's not the only reality, right? And as long as you know that, should be fine. Now, it's never too late.
But that
Am I correct?
reality did not match with mine. God could not have blessed both our marriage and riddled Frankie's penis with French diseases.
Yeah, I think it's plausible that that could have happened.
French diseases?
We used to call syphilis the malfrance.
Diseases don't belong to any nationality. You sound like a certain politician from back home.
Uh-oh.
Do not insult me. Have I not suffered enough with my husband's disgusting malady? It was a painful lie to live. I could only conclude from my sorrow that God was testing me. Endlessly.
The Senora was seeking a justification for her fear.
It was a painful lie.
I want to challenge you on something there. That sounds like a kind of hopeless statement. Like you're doomed to keep being tested on God's terms.
Perhaps it was hopeless. As you said, Isabella d'Este and Francesco Gonzaga could not change their natures.
That's true, but here's the thing. Does that mean you were doomed? Or were you just doomed on God's terms? I think this just needs a little reframing. I know you were dealt a rough hand, but it doesn't necessarily mean you were being tested. Sometimes we just gotta make do with the hand we got. What I'm suggesting is that then and now, a radical acceptance approach could have helped you.
What do you mean?
Could have been polyamorous. He could have raged, but he could have been a nun.
How about being polyamorous? That way you'd still have each other at home, but you could have gotten different needs satisfied by different people.
Please. It was the 1490s. Such things were not acceptable unless you were a pop singer like Bartolomeo Tromboncino.
Who that is, but I suppose, yeah.
Oh yeah, Bartolomeo Tromboncino. Can't forget him.
Do
Forget him.
not be impertinent. He was a Frotolo star. Every man and woman dreamed of sleeping with him, including myself.
Huh. I figure Frutalo would have been illegal. All that rubbing in public.
Porca miseria. A frotolo is like a madrigal. He was a madrigal singer. You are thinking of frottage.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Guess them mortals downstairs got to me.
Okay, that's not it then. You could have been a
You
nun.
could have become a nun, right? That would have been a way out of your situation.
Sam, you know me better than most at this point. Could I have been a nun?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you could have been the queen of the nuns.
That was not an available position.
Maybe it wouldn't have worked out then.
Okay,
You
well,
could have had
shit.
some sort of secret arrangement. That was pretty common back then, right?
Yeah, but
Oh, we did have a secret arrangement. The arrangement was that he kept secrets from me and I pretended not to know about them.
What a wonderful secret arrangement.
Had you ever considered talking about it?
I could not. You do not know what it was like back then. A woman, even one such as I, was always subject to her husband.
Right.
I did not have a say in his affairs. I had to play the part of the good wife and mother. You must understand, I only earned my significant power by playing the societal game.
Well, times are different now, right, Isabella?
But he knew you were aware of his indiscretions, didn't
I
he?
suppose that's not the point.
It was hard to deny when he approached me with that rotten thing between his legs.
So why not bring the issue out in the open?
He would have become angry, I am sure. Perhaps he would have beaten me and taken away the privileges I had worked so hard to earn. Perhaps it is pointless to tread over the past again and again. What has happened has happened.
What has happened has happened.
It has been nearly 5 centuries. I should not let the past haunt me so.
It's a hard thing, Senora. But no matter how old we get, the stuff that happened to us when we were alive is the stuff that makes us who we are.
I don't like it, but that is
To think you
true.
should get over it ain't being fair to yourself. And it's a challenge you created. Nobody expects you to get over your past.
Except, never mind.
Heck, anyone who would have thought that's long dead now.
There is truth in what you speak. My father and mother, my husband, the Pope, even the Holy Roman Emperor, they are all very long gone. If I am true, Sam, I am still very angry about all the lies I was told. I may be harboring some resentment.
You don't say.
You will understand when I tell you of Frankie's greatest cruelty.
What was it?
I will tell you that the man, for all his fighting spirit, had very weak sperm, for he could not sprout a male seed in my womb.
That is unfortunate.
My first child was a girl.
Oh, right,
I could
right.
not have been more embarrassed, or so I thought, until I had my second child, who was also a girl. I will tell you, Sam, I was a young woman in mourning. I did not emerge from my chambers for weeks. The next time, finally, I had a boy, my beautiful Federico. He was such a charming child. He would entertain me so with his clownish behavior. May I show you a picture, Sam?
Sure.
Well, sure, let's take a look.
Look at him. Isn't he beautiful? He could have been a movie star or a model today, don't you think?
Hard to tell from just the painting, but yeah, I could see him. I could see the child actor in him. I could see it, yeah.
Admit it, he is the most handsome boy who ever walked this cursed earth.
Well,
Why am I asking you? What do you know of beauty? Anyway, I gave all of myself to him, all my guidance, all my wisdom, and all of my love. Everyone said, you are doting on him. Give him some air. How dare they tell me my business? I am Isabella d'Este. I know what is right.
Senora, I'm sure you knew what was best for your son, but ain't it possible that those people might have been able to help you? It's lonely work when you feel like you can't listen to anyone else.
Are you telling me how I should have raised my son?
No.
I got a better sense of self-preservation than that, Senora. But you gotta admit, this Nosferatu thinking of being always right is pretty exhausting, ain't it?
Oh, that is true. And as it turned out, pointless. It did not matter in the end. Frankie, in his supreme foolishness, managed to get himself captured by the French. He ransomed himself out of prison with something more precious than all the gold in Venezia, more valuable than the Pope's seat.
What did he give up?
He sold my son, my beautiful Federico.
Federico.
Dang, that must have been devastating, Signora. I can't imagine how painful that must have been.
No, you cannot. For you will never be a mother to a son so beautiful, so intelligent.
Never say never, but yeah,
and
probably.
so pure. But that was not the end of my pain. It was not enough to take my son away. Not content to merely break me, the French, as always, needed to corrupt.
What do you mean the French always needed to corrupt?
They are a debauched people.
That's a little.
I know what they are like.
Maybe you want to tone. I know there's history, Isabella, but maybe you want to tone it down a little bit.
Signora, you're too smart to judge an entire group of people based on an icky sample. Besides, we're vampires. What the hell does it mean to be French or Italian after a century? All the people that made France French back then are dead now.
Yes, of course I am aware. I speak out of anger and hurt.
You will never forgive. No, there's nothing to do with the French.
I figured. But honest heads make for honest hearts, I like to say. What did the French do to your son?
They sent my sweet Federico to a den of filth, a place where chastity went to die, straight to the crossroads of Sodom and Gomorrah. They sent him to the Vatican.
Isn't that like good?
The Vatican? Seems like that'd be a pretty boring place for a boy to spend time.
Yeah, but it's like not bad, right?
Rodrigo Borgia's Vatican. It was a city of prostitutes and perverts, and he was their mayor. My poor Federico. He was a boy of a certain age. I could not have prepared him for the temptations he encountered. When he finally returned to me, he was no longer Isabella d'Este's child. He was the child of Francesco Gonzaga, an experienced whoremonger in his own right.
Hold on a sec. No longer your child? You can't think that's true. You raised that boy, and there's no way he could forget you. Maybe he got up to shenanigans out there in the Vatican, but you're only hurting yourself by erasing your influence on him. Now be honest. Did he lose everything you taught him?
No. He still had an appreciation of art, for which he had some taste.
That's good, that's good.
And he had some political acumen, I suppose.
Some is better than none. Most people who vote don't have any.
I'm not saying you should forget what happened to your son. That would be pretty unrealistic. But give yourself some credit for the influence you had, huh?
You are kind, Sam. Thank you. But it is hard to forget the child who returned to me. I am a man now, mother, he would say. I do not have to listen to you.
That's just every kid goes through that, Isabella. You're fine.
And indeed, he did not. Which is why he died of syphilis, just like his depraved father. He did not even have the courtesy to wait until I was dead. Now do you understand why I prefer the illusion of truth and beauty I try to bring to art?
Well, I wouldn't say it's an illusion, but it's not ever present.
My mother told me when my marriage was young,
Fleeting.
Isabella, you must pretend that all is as it should be. The truth is dark, but you must maintain your own.
I hate to say it, Senora, but I think your mama was spouting a few should statements of her own. Keeping up that illusion must have been draining.
That is why I tried to create my own illusions. If I depicted love and chastity in their ideal form, I could make that illusion come true.
Well, Senora,
you can't make any illusions
strong
come
enough
true.
to change the world's morality, it might be you. But I think you know the truth is that you don't have that kind of control. No one does.
Then why am I here, Sam?
Just to
Why
suffer.
are any of us here? Are we here to eat, sleep, fornicate, and die?
That's some of the things we're here to do, but that's not everything we're here to do.
I know a few folk who might say
It's not an
that's why we're
exhaustive
here.
list.
It's one of them existential questions, ain't it?
Yes, it is.
Here's my take, Senora. I think you're here to be you.
I certainly hope you have something more intelligent to contribute than that.
Me too, Isabella, me too.
I don't really. Here's the thing, Senora. None of us is going to change the world overnight, or even in a millennium of nights. But our being here, being ourselves, swings the pendulum in a whole bunch of unknowable ways.
That is a dark interpretation of reality. Are we truly so powerless?
What I'm saying, Senora, is not that we're powerless. I'm just saying we ain't gonna change the world on our own. Not everyone's gonna buy what we're selling, but some people are gonna get it. People are still out there talking about the art you brought to the world. Maybe fellas like me don't know who you are. I bet that nasty Pope from your time wasn't your biggest fan. But you can't help but be an influence on people. Just not all people. Ain't that so?
Unfortunately, it is so.
I do not know if that is enough for me, Sam.
Well, here's what I think we should do, Senora. All them efforts of yours are always facing outward. How about we spend some time on you?
What do you mean?
I mean, let's work on the things Isabella d'Este likes. Forget about the rest of the world. What are you putting in your art that's for you and not for anyone else? Is it a little embarrassing?
Hush. If you must know, it is centaurs. I like centaurs.
Hey, I ain't gonna judge. Sometimes I like horses better than people too.
Yes, well, they are pleasing to look at.
I suppose they can be. They're interesting to look at, yes.
Now, how about this then? Why don't you pick up a brush and paint yourself up a centaur?
I have not attempted to paint for centuries.
This is just for you, Senora. No expectations. How's that sound?
I cannot believe I revealed this thing to you.
I'm glad you did. I'm a lucky fella. I get to know an Isabella d'Este no one else knows.
And no one else will know, or I will make you suffer. Capiche?
Capiche.
You got a deal, Senora. I'm here to be supportive, that's all. I hope that when you come back next month, we'll be having a nice conversation about you finding your muse.
Yes, perhaps. Very well, Sam. I do not understand your ways, but I cannot deny you have a certain untamed wisdom. I shall attempt to paint a centaur. This is not what I expected from therapy.
This is actually exactly what I expected from therapy.
I shall see you in 4 weeks then. Arrivederci, Sam.
Arrivederci.
Oh yeah, see you soon, Senora. Arrivederci.
Goodbye.
Well, well, Samuel, you never cease to impress. Centaurs.
I don't think you're supposed to know about that, boss.
I am 3,000 years old, my friend. Horse people are somewhere at the very tip of my kinky iceberg. It is already forgotten.
I see.
Well, the Señor is pretty embarrassed about it, so I'd appreciate it if you kept it to yourself.
Senora d'Este is wise to put her faith in you, Samuel. I will gently remind you that relationships between therapists and clients are highly discouraged.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, come on, Andy. It ain't like that. Senora d'Este is just... You're messing with me.
Of course I am. Unless...
All right, you know what? I'm going downstairs. I could use a drink.
Well earned, Samuel. Please, rest in peace.
A drink it is. Much easier session than the last two from Senora, I remember. Drain has been just as difficult. Senora's been easier over time, I think.
Reminds me of myself as a young vampire. Pretty hot in here tonight. I think I'll get some air. Maybe I can get to know Bert a little better. Hey, Bert. How's the crowd tonight?
Yeah.
Same old, huh? So,
Talk about weather, the sports, or the city. Let's talk about the city.
What do you think of Leipzig, Bert? Real fascinating architecture here. Hey, not everyone's into architecture, I get it. So what do you do for fun here? More of a homebody, I guess. Yeah, I'm a little introverted too. Spent 90 years walking in the woods, you know. Yeah, there's nothing I like better in nature. The trees, the plants, the animals. The cities just seem so dead at night.
Oh, he's yawning.
I can tell I'm interrupting. Well, nice talking to you anyway, Bert. I'm gonna head inside.
Have fun, mate.
You can speak.
Hey, Crimson, how's the crowd?
Hey, cowboy. Bit busy tonight, but how'd your session go?
Pretty
I
well.
think this lady's starting to realize what she can't control, which is a lot. She's still mad as hell about it, but I think we're getting closer to acceptance.
I know how she feels, cowboy. I feel like I wasted years of my life in D.C.
But
trying to
didn't
make
we
the
all?
world a better
Didn't
place.
we all?
But it sounds like you are making progress to me. She's got time to make her peace. That's what Andy says about you vampires.
Yep, that's true. We can take 40 years or 400, but that's up to us.
In the meantime, I'll whip something up for a hot summer night.
That looks good.
What's this now?
Blood margarita. Figured a hot-blooded desperado like you could use something cold.
Oh, mighty kind of you, Crimson. I'll let you get back to work and take this up to my coffin for a quiet night.
Night, Sam.
Now let's see, what'll help me reflect on the night? I think there's something Omar Khayyam once wrote that I can look up. Or I could watch Buster Keaton almost get himself killed a bunch.
We should read some poetry. That's the thing to do. That is the responsible thing.
One of my transcendentalist friends told me about this one. I ain't too good with poetry, but this piece always stuck with me. The moving finger writes, and having writ, moves on. Nor all thy piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all thy tears wash a word out of it.
Nor all thy piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all thy tears wash a word out of it. Okay. Okay.
Funny how people in far-off places and times always had some similar perspectives. Omar's right. You can't change the past. Life moves forward. I think that's enough for one night. Better get me some shut-eye. Got the feeling my work's gonna get harder before it gets easier.
My dear Samuel, greetings. How are you feeling tonight?
Honestly, I'm feeling a little like a horse who's about to be ridden by a big old fella.
I am not certain I comprehend your...
Is that good?
Have you met a special someone, my friend?
What? No, it ain't that. I mean, I'm feeling a little on edge. Edmund's coming in.
Do I want to do Edmund today as well? Do I want to do that as well? I'm a little tired. We did 2 sessions, right? We did Drain, we did Senora. We also had a session with ourselves. It's quite a lot, but it's only been like 2 hours of the stream or something. Though this game is more exhausting than other games I played because there's a lot of like really intense dialogue reading, and like I am engaging with it both as a player and as myself and as a streamer, I suppose, but yeah, that's sort of secondary. No longer getting 5-hour streams. I'm just at that age. I think like I could do a 5-hour stream, just maybe not 5 hours of vampire therapy without me sort of evolving into just clicking through the dialogue and then not reacting to it, just kind of consuming it passively. And I don't think I want to do that, because what's the point is the question of doing that, instead of just, you know, someone watching like a silent playthrough of the game, or just playing the game themselves, I guess. I don't know. Can I do Edmund's session now? I think it's best to leave that for next time. I think we should do like 2 sessions every stream. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stick to like 2 sessions, 2 clients every stream. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Okay. I suppose that's all then. No stream tomorrow, but maybe the day after. Maybe I'll stream 2 days. I'll stream on Friday. Bye bye therapy indeed. We've had 2 sessions. It's good. Stream again in 2 days. I'll do something. I don't know what I'll do exactly. I'll definitely try to schedule it earlier than 10 minutes before I go live, but you know, it'll be there. What will I do? What will I do? What will I do? That's for me to decide and for you to find out. Let's keep these a little shorter so I can do more of them. For the sake of my soul, really. Okay, goodbye now. Remember, if any of this hit too close to home, maybe that's indicative of something, and that something might be that therapy is good and you should try to do it. You know, you should try to get into it. If any of this makes you go, yeah, I am thinking a lot about my life. And this is sort of helping me reflect on certain distortions of my cognitive psyche that I engage in that inhibit my thought process and my enjoyment and engagement with the world. Maybe if that is the case, and if that is the case, consider therapy. I know I am, and I know that I can't afford it. So this will do. Alright, that's enough for me. Goodbye. I've tried to look into therapy the past few weeks. And the conclusion I've walked away with is I simply can't afford it. Which is a shame. I don't want to elaborate on that too much because, you know, I thought to mention it here now that we're in the vampire therapist stream, but I do hope one day, eventually, and there's sort of a in 10 years kind of thing, I hope there is more of an acceptance for the importance and the efficacy of therapy. I hope I wouldn't mind it being a bit more centralized if it also means that it could be subsidized properly in the same way an educational system would be, but also like, you know, American problems, also this time of year, genuinely bad time to look. It's not I can tell you this much, it's not just an American problem. It is a worldwide problem, generally. No, okay, maybe not generally worldwide, that's an overgeneralization, but it is a problem that exists in multiple developed countries. And in the Library of Alexandria. They don't have much here in the library. So for now, I make do with vampires. That's what I do. Yeah. Like there is low quality therapy that is affordable, and there is actually good therapy that is less affordable, and I belong to the less affordable crowd of people. The pains of being middle class. Alright, okay, that's all. No more, no more, no more.